Hi, it's your $2 Tuesday movie critic here, and today I am going to be reviewing the movie Horrible Bosses 2. Now, I'm just going to start out with the obvious. If you liked Horrible Bosses, the original, then you're going to like Horrible Bosses, the sequel. But I have to tell you, it's not the same movie. It's a totally different concept. This time, and you have to delve a little bit more into the movie, the horrible bosses actually ends up becoming the guys themselves. And when I say the guys, I'm talking about Nick Hendricks, who's played by Jason Bateman, Dale Arbus, who's played by Charlie Day, and Kurt Buckman, who's played by Jason Sudeikis. Now, Jennifer Aniston comes back as Dr. Julie Harris, and so does Kevin Spacey in all his horrible self. And we have a new player, Rex Hansen, who is played by Chris Pine. So, the movie is pretty much, starts off as the guys have gotten rid of their old bosses. You know, they're no longer employees. They are now their own entrepreneurs, and they are trying to start a business up on their own. And it starts with advertisement, and they come on this show, and just from there until the very end, there's nothing but laughter. I mean, there are a few moments that are kind of dark. It takes on, even though I think the first one was kind of dark too, this one goes even a little bit darker. And I say that because of some of the content that goes in there. But it's still very funny. It doesn't get too dark. It is rated R, and it's mainly for the cursing, which is totally out there. I mean, it's just too much to even count, so much cursing. And the sexual content, in the verbalization of that sexual content, there's a lot of that going on. Of course, most of it's with the Dr. Julie. But the movie is hilarious. It really is. I laughed a lot, and I enjoyed it. And it's one of those movies that you have to watch it more than once because you feel like you missed something. And there is a lot going on. And I don't want to go into it because I don't want to give the movie away. But everybody has their moments in the comedic sun, so to speak, and does a great job. And everybody stays true to their characters that were in the original. They stay true to their characters in the sequel. I especially like Charlie Day's character, who is just so sweet and so naive, and just such the ideal husband. So I really enjoy. He's my favorite character. But then you have and Jamie Foxx also comes back as Mr. Jones, and his character is still funny too. And everybody's funny. And that there's, of course, the very dark, horrible boss of Kevin Spacey's character, and you won't be surprised to see where he ends up. And then it's just these guys are trying so hard to be what they always wanted from their bosses, and everything that can go wrong with that does. Let's just say that. And it makes for great comic fare. And it's a really funny movie. So I recommend it. Anybody that liked the original is going to like the sequel. They are not the same movie. It's a totally different concept. You will also like that. And the fact that it does stay kind of like in the depths of being a very dark comedy. It doesn't go into that realm completely. It tries to stay as lighthearted as it possibly can with all of the content in there that's really very dark. So, and you find yourself, at least I did, I found myself laughing at things that I would not normally laugh at. And that's what makes it even more funny, that you find yourself, oh my God, I can't believe I'm laughing at this, but it's true. So that's my recommendation. You know, parents, it's rated R. It's rated R for a reason. Do not take your kids to go see this. I wouldn't even take teenagers to go see this. I think the teenagers might enjoy it, but yeah, unless they're like 18, 19 or something, yeah, don't even let them anywhere near this. They're school age because, you know, it's just not that kind of movie. So it's a good movie. I'll probably get it when it comes out on DVD. I haven't decided yet just because of, you know, what I normally watch. And I'm a big fan of comedies. But dark comedies, I have to, you know, that's just me. Anyway, the two old school movies are also dark comedies that kind of like veer on that fence, becoming full-fledged dark comedies are just, you know, kind of like a light or gray comedy, so to speak, kind of like Horrible Bosses too. So the first one that I wanted to compare was 9 to 5, which is also referenced in Horrible Bosses too, in a very crazy conversation between Mr. Jones and the three guys. So, and I say Mr. Jones because I don't want to say his first name. I can't believe they still went with that. But anyway, they reference 9 to 5 in the movie Horrible Bosses too. And, you know, I think in that anyway, because that is really the original Horrible Bosses movie. And this, instead of 3 guys, is 3 women. And instead of them each having 3 separate horrible bosses, these 3 women work in an office where they have one horrible boss, who's played by Dabney Coleman. So the major players in this movie are Dolly Parton, who plays Dora Lee Rhodes, Lily Tomlin, who plays Violet Newstead, Jane Fonda, who plays Judy Burnley, Dabney Coleman, who plays Franklin Hart Jr., and Elizabeth Wilson, who plays Roz Keith. And if anybody remembers, Roz was like the right-hand man/woman of Mr. Hart. So the movie starts off typical, you know, you have this male chauvinist pig office manager who's the boss. And the thing about him is that it was very typical in that time period. This was during the 80s. This movie came out in actually 1980. And for some of the content that's in there, for it to be PG, I think it should have been maybe PG-13. But I guess some of the more adult stuff probably goes over the head of the little tweens and our teens, younger teens. But it's PG. So I personally like PG-13 better, but it's neither here nor there. The movie itself was hilarious, again, because you have these 3 women that realize how crappy their boss is, but they are not doing anything about it because each one of them wants to do something, and it's not until they actually join forces and find themselves in a bit of a conundrum that they decide, okay, we're going to do something about this, and we're going to turn a major negative, into a positive. Kind of like how it worked out for the guys in the original Horrible Bosses. So, and then even more comedic moments come up. It is just so funny, this movie. I think that Jane Fonda's character, Judy Burnley, is more of the straight-laced type. And I think that was kind of like typecast that way because Jane Fonda wasn't a comedian when she did this role. I don't even know if she had ever been in a comedic movie before this one. So her character was more straight-laced, or the straight woman, you know, for the jokes and stuff. But she held her own in her parts, especially when she had her dream fantasy of how she wanted to end Mr. Hart's reign as their boss. So, and then when things really did come into reality for them, it became even more funny. So this is just a hilarious movie. Anybody that's ever seen it knows that. If you haven't seen it, go see it. And you can actually see how it compares to Horrible Bosses, more so than Horrible Bosses 2. You still have the same concept where you had these horrible bosses. It kind of like meshes into the two, because in Horrible Bosses, the guys are trying to get rid of these terrible bosses, just like in 9 to 5. And then 9 to 5 takes it a little bit further when they actually do get rid of the boss and they become the bosses and they run the company, as in what happens in Horrible Bosses 2, except they're not running their boss's company, they're running their own company, or trying to. So yeah, it kind of does do that. And both movies are hilarious. There was never a sequel to 9 to 5. They did have a television series that came out later, but it didn't last too long. And of course, you have to, if you have not seen the Broadway version of it, you must see that too, because it's hilarious. I got to see that. It wasn't on Broadway, but I definitely did see the stage play, and it was so funny. So yeah, the movie itself is excellent, and that's how I compare those two. And then the other movie that I wanted to compare to it is this other hilarious movie, Throw Momma from the Train, that stars Billy Crystal and Danny DeVito. Now, and this is Mama. So this movie came out in 1987. And no, I know what you're thinking. This isn't about horrible bosses. But if you look at the relationship between these two men and the women in their lives, they are really running their lives. First, you have Owen, who's played by Danny DeVito, who is basically a mama's boy, and he does everything his mama says. And eventually, he wants to get out of that relationship and be his own man, but he can't do it because his mom won't let him. And she's basically the boss of him. She tells him what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and never to veer from that. And then there's Billy Crystal's character, Larry, who has an ex-wife who basically tells him, he wrote a book and she stole the book, took all the credit for the book. Now she's making all the money that he should have made, and he won't do anything about it. It's like he wants to, but he doesn't. He's like almost like the other guys, where he fantasizes and he talks about it, but he doesn't do anything. And Owen is the same way. He wants to do something, but he doesn't want to. He wants it to happen, but he doesn't want to be the one to do it. And I don't even think Billy Crystal's character, Larry, wants anything to happen to his wife. I mean, yeah, he wants something to happen to her, but he doesn't want to have anything to do with it. He just can't wait until it happens so that he can have his life back, maybe his book and everything else. So then, of course, Kim Greist plays Beth, Billy Crystal's wife, and Ann Ramsey plays Mama, Danny DeVito's mama. And these ladies play their parts to the T. They are so excellent. Really, they are, especially Mama. She makes the best comedic scenes in this movie, and it's just by being herself. She's not telling any jokes. She's not doing anything. Her voice is craggly. She's shorter than Danny DeVito, which is crazy. Or is he? I don't know if she's shorter, but they're about the same height. And she's pretty much just running him with an iron fist. And he can't do anything about it. Owen and Larry actually meet because Larry is a teacher that has a night writing class, and Owen is a student in that class. And Owen is, fantasizing and writing these fantasy stories about, the demise of his mom, and he kind of like overhears, Larry and his situation with his wife. So Owen takes it upon himself, without even talking to Larry, to go and get rid of Larry's wife. Owen feels like he has successfully taken care of that situation. He goes back and tells Larry, okay, now you got to kill my mama. And of course, initially, Larry is like, what are you talking about? Or what are you doing? And he wants no parts of it. but he ends up kind of like really taking on a brotherhood type relationship with Owen and wanting to protect Owen and seeing that what type of relationship that he and his mother have. And it's all in brilliant comedic wonder. In each of the movies, everything turns out for the best. And you realize that revenge is not the best medicine. And, you know, if you want to get out of a situation, that's going to be your choice. You can't do it by forcing others to make your situation better or killing people. So that is my review for this time. I enjoyed all three movies. As you can see, I got Throw Momma from the Train like years ago. I still have that on VHS. I recommend all three movies. Throw Momma from the Train was PG-13, and I agree it should have been PG-13. There wasn't a lot of it was because I think it was mainly because it was a dark content, you know, talking about killing people. So that's why it was PG-13. I think that 9 to 5 should have been PG-13 as well, and it wasn't, so that's cool. But they're all excellent movies, very funny. There was some brief nudity also in Horrible Bosses too. It's not a lot, and it is brief to the point where if you blink, you may miss it. That kind of nudity. It was mainly about the sexual content. Alright, so that's my review for today. I hope you like it. And if you think there are other movies that brought better compared to Horrible Bosses 2, let me know at the bottom of the screen. And I will see you next time.